What I'll be showing you is how to convert PSD to JPEG to HTML format. We'll also be using Bootstrap for our main JavaScript and CSS library. So we will be, what we're going to do is basically we're going to do a responsive website. So this is actually the layout that I've already done. Okay, so this is called Ritz-Carlton Hotel. So I use this one as an example since it's a lot easier to convert since it doesn't have that much elements, as you can see. Um, you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 for links. Then there won't be that much animation, so I won't be adding animation. Basically, this is just a simple conversion. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to convert everything into HTML format, into a working format. This will also just be a home page conversion, so I won't be doing the internal pages or the other pages. So this is just basically a home page conversion. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to convert this first into JPEG. So as you can see, it's still in PSD format. So what I can do now is I'm going to click File, then Save for Web. Okay, so the format. Okay, let me just try to do it all over again. I'm going to click File, then Save As. Then for the format, let's try to select JPEG. Okay, we have here JPEG. Okay, so homepage.jpg. Then we have here save. Okay, let's try to set it to maximum, then okay. Now, one of the things that you've noticed is I didn't actually use a file, then save for web and devices. So, okay, so as you've noticed, it's already basically sliced. So we don't want that. Why is it that we don't want that? Because if it's already sliced, it's in table, it will be saved in a table format. So we don't want to save it in a table format. What we basically wanted to do is is to convert it into a CSS format. So we're going to use CSS for this one. At the same time also, if it's in table format, we cannot do it responsively. Okay, so we cannot actually convert it into into a responsive website. So that's why we use only file, then save as. Okay, then let's try to remove some elements first. Okay, so we have here the logo. So as you've noticed, we have here the logo. Okay, we have here header. Okay, we don't want that. Navigation. Okay, that's the navigation part. Logo. Okay, let's try to remove the logo and the brown background. Try to put it here. Okay, let's try to save it first, the layout. Now, next thing that we need to do is we need to save it again. File, save as. Then try to look for JPEG again. Okay, where's JPEG? We have here JPEG. Okay, let's try to save. Okay, then maximum 12. Okay, now let's try to open the file, home page. Okay, I'm going to copy the whole. I need to copy it anyway. So what we need to do next is we're going to put guides in our website elements. So we have here the following elements first. We have here on the one on top and also the one here at the bottom. Okay, so we have here the brown lining on top and also the orange and dark orange, the orange gradient here, just below the brown header. Okay, now before we start the conversion, okay, so I actually opened, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code this time. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to click File, then open folder. Okay, so you have here website lessons. I created a folder called website lessons. So I'm going to select this particular folder. Okay, so as you've noticed, it's still empty. So what we need to also to do is we need to add another folder. Okay, now let's try to call this one. Okay, I'm going to click here, right click here, then we have here new folder. Okay, so for this particular project, let's try to call this one activity 01. Okay, next. Now, inside our activity 01, we'll also be adding some folders. Now, if you've been following my tutorial or our tutorial, you would notice that I would normally have the files properly segregated. So, like for example, I'm going to click here another folder, new folder, okay? Then I'm going to add images folder. So basically, all of the images will be stored here. Then next is okay, new folder again. I'm going to call this one as JS. Right click, new folder, then CSS. Okay. After adding CSS, images, and JS folder, what we need to do next is we need to create our HTML file. So I'm going to right click here, then click new file. So let's try to call this one as index.html. Okay. Now this is already our index.html. Okay, let me just try to zoom it a bit so that you will be able to see the code. I'm going to preference settings. Okay, for the font size, I'm going to make it maybe 15 so that it will be clear to you guys. Okay. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Font size, maybe 18. There. Okay, that's a lot better. Let me also try to change the color. Okay, so color theme, let's try to make it light default so that it's much better. Okay, next thing that we need to do is we need to create our HTML template. So basically this will be HTML, then head, title. Okay, you also have head, body. Okay, then HTML. Okay, so we already created our HTML template. Now what's the name of the website again? Okay, let's try to call this one, okay, Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Okay, let's try to put some design here on the title bar. Ritz-Charleston Hotel. Okay. By the way, guys, if ever there's a website out there that has the same name, this is not for them, okay? This is not associated with AD website whatsoever. We're just doing this for our activity or for our exercise. Okay, now, now that we have already created our template, okay, let me just try to run, okay? So this is actually the one that we did previously, but we'll just do this one all over again, okay? So, activity 01. So index, okay, website activity 01. So there's no index yet. Okay, file not found. Let me just try to check first where is that file. Okay, let me open here. XAMPP, HD docs, web projects. Then we have here lessons, website. Okay, so basically what I did was try to add this one outside our activity underscore 01 activity. Okay, we added the index.html under outside our index underscore 01 that folder. So we need to move this one inside. Okay, so it should be something like this. So you need to create it inside your activity underscore 01 folder. Okay, in order for this to work. Okay, so as you know, this is already working. Okay, so next thing that we need to do. Okay, let's just try to get my okay, so I've added here the bootstrap. Okay, I'm just going to copy, or yeah, I'm going to copy. So you can actually, guys, download this bootstrap library. Okay, so I'm going to copy. Then activity _01, try to paste it here. So these two folders, by the way, will already be overwritten. So I'm going to right click here, then extract to bootstrap _dist. Then I'm going to double click open, just going to copy everything, then try to put it also on the root of my activity _01. So there is, we already have our bootstrap as well as our bootstrap CSS as well as our bootstrap JS. Then you can just try to delete this folder so that it won't be that much of an eyesore. But we can just try to keep this one so that at least just in case that there's an error or there's a modification that we need to do, we can still revert it back because we have the source folder. So we already have our background image. Then we can just click File, then Save As again. No, we can just click Save for Web and Device. File, Save for Web. Okay, this time we'll be using JPEG. Okay, save. Okay, now inside our images folder, let's try to create another folder called background. Okay, so I'm going to double click to open. So call this one BG-01. Okay, so set it to 60%. Okay, file, save for web. Okay, so whatever quality 60% only, it's okay. It won't matter. It will load a lot faster compared to setting it to 100% anyway. So it's okay. So now that we have created our row, let's try this time to add our image. Okay, so we don't need this part anymore. Okay, I can just type image source. So you have their images dash background dash. Okay, then I'm going to click here, reload the page. Okay, so that's it. So but as you've noticed, it's quite it's actually quite small. Okay, so we need to do some adjustment for our images. Okay, so let me just try to close that one. Okay, so let's try to go back to our code this time. Okay, so we already have it here. Now let's try to include first our CSS file. Okay. Okay. We have here link rel style sheet type text CSS. Then we have here href CSS bootstrap. Okay, wait. Bootstrap dot CSS. Okay. Next is we also need to include our JavaScript. So we have here script language, JavaScript source. So since it's inside our JavaScript folder, and the name of the JavaScript folder that we have is JS, we have here bootstrap.js script. Okay. Now, what we need to do next is just, let's try inside our CSS folder. Okay. We can create another CSS file because basically all of the CSS file, we don't need to modify bootstrap.css, but we also need to create our very own CSS files. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here, then I have here new file. So let's try to call this one as our Ritz dash Charleston dot CSS. So all of our custom CSS will be added under this folder, under this file. So like for example, the background will be set here and so on. Okay, sorry. So let's try to add it here as well. So we have here link rel again, style sheet, type, text CSS, then we have here href. Okay, so we have here it's charleston.css. Okay, so we already have added 3 elements into our heading. So we added basically 2 CSS file, which is a bootstrap.css. Then we also have added our it's dash charleston.css, and we have here bootstrap.js. Now let's try this time to code. We can actually just leave this file open. Okay, since basically we will be modifying it from time to time. Okay, so what we need to do next is we need to create our container. Okay, using Bootstrap. Okay, so let's try to call this one div class container dash fluid. Okay, so that's it. Now so to go back to our layout. So what we need to do, okay, I'm going to open this one. So we have here the brown layout on top. So let's try to call this element as brown. Okay, let me just try to add also my rulers by pressing Ctrl R on my keyboard. Then I'm going to add here the guide. Now basically for the guide, what will happen is that I'm going to use this one to get all of the sizes of my of the different elements of our website. So I'm going to right click here. I'm going to copy. So as you notice, I just use the marquee tool, then highlight everything. Okay, then Control C, Control N, Control to copy and paste. Now we don't need to copy and paste it on a new file. What we just wanted to do is just try to get the height, or sometimes the width also, or both. But in this case, we'll just be getting only the height. So I'm going to open here. Okay, div class. Let's say first to create a row, since basically it's going the website is going to be, or the layout is going to made up different rows. So we have here div class column sm12. Okay, let's try to call this element as brown, since basically it's, or brown bg. Okay, let's try to call this one as brown bg. Okay, so now under our folder, under our file rich-charleston.css file, we're going to do some modifications. So let's try to create a class called brown-bg. Okay, so here background color, background dash color. Okay, so what's going to be the color, or let's try to specify first the height. Okay, going back here, the height is 101. Okay, maybe we can make it 100. Okay, so the height is 100 px. Okay, then what we can basically do now is we can just try to get, using the eyedropper tool. Okay, where's the eyedropper tool? Okay, this one, eyedropper tool. I'm going to get the color of my background, since it's okay actually to get just the color. Okay, so I'm going to click here. Okay, as you've noticed, I already also have here the color already. Okay, or maybe let's try to do it. Okay, copy color as copy. You can just right click also here, copy colors hex code. Okay, let's try that. Then I'm going to right click here, then paste. Okay, so that's the hex code. But also guys, take note that when we're using a hex code, it should always be preceded by a number sign. Okay, so as you've noticed, we have here a preview of what the color is. Now going back to our HTML file, let's try to reload. Okay, it's not yet loading. Okay, maybe we can take a, click inspect. Okay, I'm going to right click here, view page source. Okay, there's an error onto our code. Let's try to check. Now, this is actually I made the same error again. what I basically did was try to modify this code, this file, which is outside our activity underscore 01. Okay, what I'll be doing is I'm just going to copy. Then, don't save. I'm just going to open this file. Okay, then paste everything here, so that at least I won't be making the same mistake again. What I can do is just right click here, then delete. Move to recycle bin. Okay, then I'm going to reload the page. As you've noticed, all of the elements are already there. Okay, I'm going to right click. So we already have here on top our brown lining on top. Next thing that we need to do is we need to copy the gradient. This is actually the gradient part. This is for our navigation. So I'm going to Control C, Control N. Now this time we need to use the image. Okay, so we have here height width is 16. Maybe we can make it 8, because it's okay if it's the width would be small. And okay, then we have to specify the height, make it 60 also. Okay, then I'm going to I just basically press enter, then I'm going to paste. Okay, now I'm going to click file, then save as. Okay, I'll be opening my activity, this one, not the other one. Okay, this one, this is actually inside my website lessons. So as what I've said, all of the images will be stored inside this folder. So images. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to copy all of these files, then paste, save. Okay, now for the format, let's try to use this time GIF. We have here, let's try to look for GIF first. I cannot seem to find GIF. Okay, let's try to do a different approach. I'm going to click file, then save for web. Okay, we have here GIF, then save. Paste it here also. Now, let's try to call this one as navigation-bg. Okay, so when can we use JPEG? When can we use GIF? When can we use PNG? In my case, I would normally use PNG if there's a need for me to retain the image quality with a transparent background. Okay, so I use PNG for that. If, let's say, for example, there's a need for me to just basically use like for example, just a simple background like what we have here, then I can use JF for that. If there's a need for me to basically use a JPEG with a high resolution format, then that's the time that I'll be using JPEG. Now we use PNG for this one since it's just a simple background, so there's no need for us to use either PNG or JPEG. So that's why we use GIF for this one. Okay, let's try to check this time. Okay, images. As you've noticed, we already have here navigation-bg.gif. Now again, let's try to code. Going back here. Okay, so call this one navigation-bg. Okay, so background image URL -- okay, we have here images, then navigation-bg. Okay, so we also need to specify our height. Our height before we have it at 60px. Okay, now let's try to go back here. This is our row. Okay, navigation-bg. Okay, so we have already have our navigation-bg. Okay, so to go click here. Okay, now as you've noticed, we already added our navigation background. So we have our brown background, we also have our navigation background. Okay, so next thing that we need to do is let's just try to remove this part, this part. Okay, we can just add it later. Okay, I'm going to remove the logo, then navigation is there. Okay, gallery. Okay, so we have your header. I think that's welcome text. Okay. Going to click file again, then save as. Okay, need to overwrite. Let me just try to close this first. File, save as. I'm going to look for JPEG. Okay, replace. We can just replace. Okay, so I'm going to reopen it again. Okay, so what we need to do next is we need to copy the whole image. Okay. I'm going to copy the whole image. I'm going to press Control C to copy, then Control N. Okay, then click OK, and that's it. As you notice, there's somewhat of a orange lining, so we can just remove that one by maybe moving it a little bit on top. Okay, so also this one we have here at the bottom. So what we can again do is we can just try to I basically tried to click here show transform controls, then I can just drag it downwards. Okay, then press enter. Now as you've noticed, the size actually of the image is supposed is actually or did not occupy the whole page. Okay, so it should actually be from tip here up until here. Okay, so we want that certain effect onto our image. But how come we have it here? It's because we still need to add some more code into our HTML as well as our CSS file. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, go back here to our code for CSS. On the topmost part of our head, let's try to add this meta code. So you have here meta char set UTF-8. Okay, set to close. Then last, we also have here meta viewport equals meta name, not meta viewport. Sorry, meta name viewport. Then we have here content. Width is equals to device.width, comma, initial dash scale is equals to 1.0. Okay, set to close also. Okay. Okay, so let's try this time to open our. Okay, so it's still not yet working. Okay, let's try to add some more code to make it work. Okay, for our image, let's have to go back down here. Try to add also this one. D dash block image fluid with dash 100. Okay. Let's try to reload the page. Okay. So as you can see, it's already 100%. But you still have here some gaps. So where can we edit it? The first thing that we need to do is you can do something like HTML margin 0. Okay, go back here. It's still not yet working. So what else do we need to add? Okay, now we have here container fluid. Okay, let's try to close this top here dash. Then let's try to add another tab called, try to do something like that. Okay, so okay, let's try to close. Container fluid. Okay, so we're container fluid, image background. So let's try to add some more code. So we already have here set our background. Go back here. Okay, so we have something like that. I actually checked it a while ago and I was able to trace where it was actually coming from. So we have your image background, the block image fluid. Okay, so what we need to do next, let's try to set the padding to 0. Padding 0. Okay. Let's try to check if it's going to work. Nope. We can also override, by the way, certain elements of our class. So what we need to do is we click here class, container dash fluid. Then margin, okay, 0. Okay, it's not working yet. Because you have your padding left 0, padding right 0 also. So let's try to use that one. Back here. Padding. Okay. No, that's it. So we have our padding already 0. But we also need to set the row or the horizontal scroll bar to hidden. Okay, so we have here overflow X hidden. Go back here, reload the page. Okay, so it's already hidden. So we only have vertical scroll bar. So we already have our heading. We already have our heading already. So we have our lining here on top. Then we also have our navigation. We also have our main image. Okay, let's try to check this if it's responsive. So I'm going to click inspect. Then we have here okay, so this is actually how it will be viewed if the resolution is 320 by 480. But let's say I'm going to use iPad. So that's it. It's, as you can see, it's responsive. Okay, so okay, so let's go back to web. Okay, where's the layout? Okay, now that we're done with the image, this one, what, okay, let's try to close. We need to do what we need to do next. We can actually do the lining, this one. Okay, go to Control C, Control N again to copy. So you have here height. Okay, then width. Okay, we can make it 6 by 6. Okay, or we don't need actually to code. Okay, so you have your brown BG. You have your orange BG. Okay, so you have their height 8px. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we basically need to use again our Eyedropper Tool to right click, then copy color as HTML to paste. Okay. So that's actually just below this line. Okay, or what we can do is, okay, we need to copy. Then you have here, we don't need this part anymore. The orange PG. Let's try to check if it's going to work. Okay, right click here. Okay, so we already have here also the orange lining on top. Okay, so our website is already coming slowly. Next is, let's try this time to add our news and events as well as this image. So for this one, we have around 3 images. Okay, so 3 columns, 1, 2, and 3. We need to create first our spacer. Okay, go back here. Okay, so let's try to this time to create another container. Div class container fluid again. Okay, and div class row. Maybe you can add another container, div class container. Just try to check. I'm using basically random characters to check. So I'm going to open here. Okay, so as you can see, it's right here on the tip, so we don't want that. Instead of container fluid, let's try to use container only. So basically, if we're going to use container fluid, it will have it here from tip to tip. If you're just going to use container, I have to go back here. SSS, middle of the page. So it's somewhere here in the middle. Okay. So what we can do is we can have here div class column SM4. First column, third column, first, second, and third column. Okay, so try to add some border to check. There are 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Maybe what we can do, we can have it here. We can just try to leave it as is. Okay. So another thing that we can do for this one is we can also add as what I said, we're going to add some custom CSS. Maybe we can try this one with we don't want that. Okay, let's try to create a new class. Okay, here so to call this one. Okay, where is this part? This is actually on the content part. Okay, and their content width. Okay, for the width, maybe we can do it 400. Okay, or we can make it 1024. Okay, we just have to adjust. Okay, let's try to make this one as 300px. Okay. Content width. Okay. Call this one out. Try to check if it's possible for us to do something. Or we can just try to leave it as is. Okay. Try to check if it's possible. Content width. So it's not working. Near border. It's only 300 pixels, so try to adjust, make it maybe 400. It's possible. Okay, so it's actually going down. Okay, let's try to erase this part. Let's try to skip it and make it maybe column with border. So row. Okay, let me just try to do something else first. Okay, so we have here div class column SM12. Okay, so it's somewhere in the middle. Then we have here border. Okay, so we only have this much width. Let's try to make it fluid again. Okay, so we're fluid. I think we can use fluid. Okay, so let's try to have to use this one. Container dash fluid border. Okay, and then we have here column with. Then we have here. Let's make this one as 4, 1, 2, 3. 2 and 3. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we'll use this one. So let's try to add just padding. That's px minus 2. Or py. Py is top. Let's try to use p only. P2. Or mx. Use px. P1. Okay, let's try to add some custom. Okay, instead of content, let's try to call this one padding width. Okay, let's try to use also the one that we have here. So this is let's try to have it here first. Control C, then we have here Control N. So we have here width. Let's make it 15. Okay, so padding width. So width is 15 px. Padding width. Wait to remove this part. Go and just try to leave it as is. It's actually okay anyway. So we can also just try to remove this part since we don't need it anymore. So we have here already this is our column at the bottom. So if we're to look at our layout, okay, just try to open it again. We'll have something like this. Okay, so we have here our image, then we have also our news and events, then we also have another set of images here. Okay, so there's a gap here as well as on the top. As what I've said, can just leave it as is, but maybe we can try to add just, okay, maybe try to put px3, which means actually we have your x-axis 3. Okay, 3, that's going to be 3. Okay, so let's try to reload the page. Okay, let's try to make it py. Okay, so we have here on top, then px, or okay, we can just try to put here p, so that we will have 3 for both top and side. Okay, reload the page. Okay, it's still not yet working. px3. Okay, so p4. So you have to make it p4. Okay, so we have here already a gap 4. Okay, it's going to be the padding. So also try to make it this one p4 and p-4. Okay. Now the purpose of padding, by the way, is so that we will have a padding on our image, okay, or in our columns. So next thing that we need to do is we are going to slice this section. Okay, so we're doing it on our home page. Put here. Okay. Then if you Control C, Control N. Okay. Okay, so then what you can do is you can click File, then Save for Web. Okay, since it's basically made up of lots of colors, then maybe you can use JPEG. So JPEG. Okay, so I to call this one as image01. Okay, then so to go back here. Image source, images, background. Okay, let's just try to move the image first. Try to put it here on top. Okay, I'm going to right click here, cut. Then I'm going to put here on, I'm going to transfer it just one level above background images. Then we have here paste. Okay, so you can close this part. Then I'll just have here image as well. Can click close. Then let's try to call this one as image 0.jpg. Okay. Try to reload the page. Okay, so as you can see, it's not yet working because we have here background. So to remove the folder names. Okay, as you can see, as you notice, it's quite small, so we don't want that. But there's already a padding here on top as well as here at the bottom. But again, as what I said, we don't want that. Okay, let's try this time to adjust. Class. Okay. Image fluid with. Let's try to check if it's going to work. Okay, so it's already working. Okay. Now there are some areas. Okay, it's actually just okay. So if we were to resize, we're going to right click here, then inspect again, then change the layout. Okay, this would be Okay, I can just try to change it for you. This would be how it will look. Okay, so set to close. Then, okay, try to go back here to our layout. Now we have also our news and events. So what we can basically do is we can just try to copy the heading part. Okay, so this will be in here. So we have make it H2 maybe. And if here news and events. Okay, so I have to go back here. We have here news and events. Maybe we can change its font. Okay, and add it here HTML. Maybe put it here on top. So this one is body. Okay. So basically all of the fonts inside our body tag will also be changed. Okay. So font family. Try to look for Times New Roman. Seri. Okay. Then of course, okay, let's try to reload the page. Going back here. So we have here already. It's changed. Then we have maybe H1 font size. Maybe we can make it to 24px. Basically, we're just trying to override what okay, a bit small. Maybe we can make it to 36. No, it's okay already. Maybe we can make it 36. For the color, okay, so we'll also be using this color. That's for H1 color. What we can do is we can just basically copy this part. Okay, let's try to close. Maybe it's already dark brown. Okay, but you see it's light brown here, so we don't want the other color, so we just have to use this one. You can go to swatches, then use this one. Okay, so I have to change the color. Go back here again. Okay. Try to go back here. Try to reload. Okay, it's not working. View page source. Okay. Charleston. Okay. Because it's H2, it's not H1. Okay, let's try to change this one to H1. Okay. Reload the page. Okay, so we already have it here. News and events. Okay, so next, what we can do is we can just try to, again, we can be lazy and we can just try to copy this part. Then just try to have it here at the bottom. Try to reload the page. Okay, so it's quite small, so we don't want that. Try to adjust the size of the font. try to change this part first. Let's try to, from the body, we want to add it only on our H1. Okay, so we have there. We can actually just delete this part. Then try to reload the whole page again. Okay, so that's it. So as you've noticed, it's actually quite small, but it's okay. We can just try to leave it as is. Then next is okay, as you've noticed, there's a link here, read more, at the bottom. Okay, let's try to add read more. This will be for our paragraph. So P dash P. Okay, then ahref. We can just try to leave for it for the meantime. Have it like that. Read more. Okay. Go back here. They read more. Now, but the thing about read more is that we also need to change the color as well as the design. Okay, so there's no underline here, and also the color is red. So how do we do that? Okay, let's try to go back here. Let's try to add here A. Let's try to add A. Okay. Then color. Okay, for the color, we can use maybe this. Okay, what I'll be doing is I'm just going to right click again, then okay, right click here. You can just double click, copy, go back here. Okay, then we can add this property as well, text decoration none. So to go back here, no, as you can see, it's already there. So we can just try to leave it as is. So okay, maybe we can have this one into 2 paragraphs so that at least it won't look empty. But since basically this is just a test website, what we can do is we can just copy and paste this part. Okay. Go back here. That's it. So it's already okay. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to copy this section, this part. What we can do, okay, so I have to go back here first, homepage. Now what we can do is just basically we can just try to copy everything, so at least we don't need to bother ourselves with trying to slice it individually into different sections. So again, what we do is we just have to highlight. I used a guide, by the way, so and I did it here. Control C, Control N, and paste. Okay. I just now notice, by the way, okay, let me just try to do that all over again. Now notice, by the way, that there's a gap of white lining here on top and also at the bottom. So what we can do is we can just move it a little bit upwards, then try to stretch it a bit, then press enter. Okay. Okay, try to do something like that. Okay. We just stretch it a little bit so that everything will be occupied by the image. There's no white spaces as part of our lining. Okay, then let's try to click save as. Click save for web. Save. Okay, let's try to go back one higher, image 1. We'll call this as image 2, so it won't confuse us. Now what we can do is we can just try to copy this image, then put it here. Okay, instead of image 1, what we can do is just put it here, image 2. Then let's try to reload the page. Okay, so we already have our image. Now notice, by the way, that this image is a lot larger compared to this one. So you want it to be the same in terms of height. Okay, So although on this part they're both the same in terms of height, but for some reason it's actually this one is a lot bigger compared to this one. So let's try to adjust. Uh, what we can do is we can just try to copy and paste it here. Okay. Okay, maybe there we forgot some tags. 100. Okay. News and events. Okay. Maybe to change it to image 1. Let's try to check. Okay, so it's actually a lot bigger. Okay, so what we can do, let's try to open it, file, save, open. Wanted to make it balanced, so try to open the actual file. You can go here. Okay, I have to go back here, click run, then C. Program files, htdocs, here lessons, then website lessons. Activity 1, that's going to be images. Okay, so we have these two images together. Okay, going to right click here, properties, details. So for details, we have here dimension. The height is 162 pixels. And here, properties, it's also 162. Now let's try to check the width. Okay, so for the width, you have 326. For this one, right click, properties, details, also 295. So we need to adjust it. Let's make it both 295. Okay, so okay, we can just try to have it here. Okay, I'm going to click file, then save for web, save. It's going to be image 2. Okay, then next, file, save for web, save, then image 1. Okay, let's try to reload this time the page. Control F5. They're already both the same in terms of height and in terms of width. Okay, so they're already the same. So we already have our image here on top and this one. Okay, now let's see if we can close this part. Okay, now the next thing that we need to do is, again, we need to create our lining here. We need to create this orange lining. So we can actually copy this part, which is another, okay, orange PG. Okay, okay, so we have our orange background here. Then so to get the height of our footer, to get the height of our footer, okay, I'm going to put here another guide so that at least I can isolate the orange part from the brown part. Then okay, sorry, not that one, but this one. I'm going to zoom. Okay, we need to put also the guide. Then okay, Control C, Control N. The height would be 102. So we can maybe set it, the height, we can set the height to around 100. Okay, so let's try to create another class. So we have here orange PG. Okay, we have here also brown BG, white height 100. So what we can do, since it's already set, this one, okay, okay, we can do something like that. Let's try to reload the page. Okay, so we already have it here at the bottom. Okay, so what we can do next is we can actually just add our links. Okay, so I have to go back here. Okay, try to add our links this time. Have our div class container. It should serve as our footer. As you can see, it's in the center. So div class, row div as well. Then we have okay, second set it to center. Yeah, with border. No, not this part. Okay, so I have to create another class. Div class, call sm12. Border. Okay, so we have already our border. Okay, so to set text center. Okay, so we already have our center. Next is let's try to add also our padding. Okay, which will be placed here. Make it 5 maybe. Okay, not 5. What about 4? Okay, 4 is better. Now, for the links, what we can do, okay, so what we can basically do is, again, we can just try to copy everything. Control C. Okay, then let me just try to put it here. ahref again. Okay. Let's try to call this one as our, let's try to create another class called footer dash navigation. Okay. Dot footer dot navigation. Okay, then if your color 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then text declaration none. Try to reload the page. Okay, so we have it here already. Okay, so to then text center. So basically what I did was try to add the A for our anchor or for our link. Let's try to reload the page. Okay, so it's already there. So let's try to copy this part. Okay. Notice by the way that for the tube, it's actually colored black, so we don't want that. For the layout, it's actually colored white. So we also wanted it to be consistent. So what we need to do is I'm going to copy this whole class, put it here, then just try to remove A. Okay, you can just it's already okay. So go back here. Okay, so it's already all is actually okay. All the links is actually okay. Then last, okay, for our footer, what we can do, let's just try to put here line break, then a href, again just another link. So what's the URL we have here? Then okay, and go back here. So that's it. Okay, so we already have our footer, we have our image. Okay, now to complete everything, we just need to do the navigation part, and we also need to add our logo. Okay, so let's say to go back to our layout, then go back here on top. This is our logo. Okay, let's try to change our logo. So I'm going to duplicate our logo. So copy. No. Going to, there's the logo. Okay, right click, then duplicate group. Then for destination, we have here new. Okay, let's click OK. So this is already our logo. So we're going to use this logo. So what I basically need to do again is on this part. So I'm going to set my guide to 7.5. 7.5. Now why is that? So that I won't be overlapping over the shadow of my logo. Okay, that's the whole purpose. So Control C. Okay, going to just press Control C to crop, then have it something like that. Then press Enter. Okay, so I already have my logo. So then this time, since as what I've said earlier, let me just try to check first. Okay. This for this format we'll be using PNG, since we wanted to retain the property of the logo, wherein it's it has shadow, somewhat of a faded shadow. So we wanted to retain that certain property. Okay, so I'm going to file, then save for web. Okay, notice by the way that if I'm going to use JPEG for the format, it's plain white, but if I'm going to use maybe GIF, it has also a white background. So ideally we need to use PNG 24 or we can use either PNG 8, PNG 24. Okay, we have here PNG 24. So we can just click save, then we can change its file name to logo. Okay, we have to go back here. So to go on the topmost part. Okay, should be somewhere right above there. So I'm going to create another row on the top part. Remove this part, brown BG. What I can do is I can just try to change it to image source images, then we have here logo. Okay, let's try to reload the page. Now as you've noticed, it's already there, but the thing is it should be on top of, it should be in the background should be on top of the logo. So how do we do that, or how do we solve that issue? Sorry, it's not, by the way, that the background should be on top of the logo, but the logo should be on top of the background. So as what I've said, how do we solve this particular issue? Now, in this part, I already created my class logo. Okay. Then we have here, I'm going to create the properties logo. Okay. Then I start to use position absolute. Then we'll also be using z index 1000. Okay. Let's try to reload the page. Okay, so that's it. So we use only this tag logo position absolute z index. But as you've noticed, the layout in the layout, it should be on the center and not on the side. So how do we again do that? How do we center? So in using Bootstrap, by the way, it's going to be a lot easier because you only need to add this property or this class text dash center, then try to reload. Okay, so we already have it. So we already have our logo in the center. So I'm going to right click here, inspect element. Let's try to check. Okay, so let's try to make this. Let's try to adjust. Add this code. Try to see if it's going to work. The block with 100. Okay. Nice. Okay, so as you can see, it's already in the center. Then at the same time also, it's adjusting on the width of the device that it's currently viewing it. So in this case, the device, by the way, okay, the device, by the way, is iPad. So it has a resolution of 810 by 1080. So, okay, so we have it here. Okay, so this is actually looking really, really nice. Maybe try to check it in Samsung, in iPhone, maybe 12, 13. Okay, so this is it. Nice. Okay, so this is already our layout or web design. So the next thing that we need to do is we're going to add our navigation. Okay, let's try to close. Okay, let's try to add our navigation. Now for our navigation, since it's going to be here, what we can do is we can add another row, div class row. Try to add, okay, try to just put it text navigation. Try to do, we have here navigation. Next is, let's have it here, div class. Try to divide it by okay, div class call sm maybe 3. Try to check if it's going to work, if it's in 3. Okay, try to put border. Try to check if we have border here. Okay, so here is a small border. Then try to add another one. So that's already 6. It's going to be 9. And we have 12. Okay, so we don't want that. Maybe we can make it by 2. Let's try to see if it's going to work by 2. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, We have here 12. Okay, I think by 2s is better. Okay, so what we can do is we can just try to adjust, make it center. Everything is in center page. So let's also try to add this one, P4, padding 4. Okay, so we're going to add it here first. Okay, this padding 4 is a little bit big, so maybe we can make it padding 3. Okay, so that's better. Same also on this part. Okay, so you have here padding 3. Same also here, P3. But we need to adjust it. And you also have it here, P3. Okay. So we're going to set it to center. So text center. But this one will just sorry. This one will just be okay. Then we can also change this part as text center as well. So we have the text center. Then it's this one is actually okay. Sorry, this one is actually okay. So but we just need to change this one. So for this one, maybe we can have it text end. Okay. Okay, so that's it. So this time I'll try to add our as you've noticed, there are buttons on our link. So let's try to add our buttons. We can actually make this one as 4. Let's try to see if we're going to make it 4, what will happen. So this is somewhat of a spacer. So load the page. Okay, so it didn't do anything. Going back here, and just try to remove this part. Okay, decide to get first the hotel room and suites. So this one will be called the hotel. Okay, href. This one is called room and suites. Room and suites. The other one, things to do and concerts and events. For this one, let's try to copy this part. Concerts and events. Okay. To go back here, okay, so we already have our navigation on top. Now what we need to do next is just try to add the buttons. Now for the buttons, what we can basically do, or what we can do is okay, so to go back here on our layout. Then we have our buttons. Duplicate layer. Okay, set to create new. And just close this part. Don't need this anymore. Don't need this also. We don't need. We can just leave it open. So we have it here. Where's the button? Okay, I'm going to add another solid color. Okay, and I'm just going to move the button on top. Zoom out. Okay, there it is. Okay, save as again. Then we'll just have to set it to PNG again. And try to call this one as white dash button. Okay. And let's try to see if it's going to work. So for this one, let's try to add it here first. Maybe what we can do is we can just try to add here image source, images, then we have here white button. Okay. We have it here, button. But we need to put it here somewhere. So again, what we can do is we can just try to add another div class row. Okay, let me just try to remove the border. Div class call sm, going to make this one a 6. Okay, and put here border. As you've noticed, it's somewhere here. So what we can do is you can just adjust, make it instead of 6, make it 10. Okay, or even 11. Then next thing that we need to do is we can just try to copy. Have this one set to 1. Okay, so just make this one B3 as well. So it's not going to work. Okay, so that's it. That's it. Okay, so we can just try to remove the border. Okay, so that's it. So we already have it here. Okay, let me also try to remove. Okay, I think that's going to be okay already. It's okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add this one also for the end part, which is concerts and events. Okay, but instead of putting it at the end, I'm going to put it here before. So this one, okay, try to reload the page. So that's it. We have here things to do. Then we have there borders. Okay, so let's try to remove border for this one. Excuse me. Okay, so that's it. So we have our image. What if we're going to make it center? Text center. Or text start. Okay, I think that's much better. Okay, same also for this one. For the hotel, make it text end. There. Okay, I think that's much better looking. Now, the thing now that we have already added our buttons and at the same time also our link. Okay, ahref. ahref hotel A. How come it's not working? Let me just try to check first. There's some issue, by the way, that it's not working. Okay, to check first. Okay, so I was actually able to finally figure it out. Now for the navigation, BG navigation. So notice, by the way, that it's not clickable. Okay, let's try to fix that issue. And it's navigation. Okay, so if your navigation BG, so to call this one as navigation dash bar. Maybe we can make this one as 500 for the logo. Okay, let's try to make it to 500. Okay, then let's try to check navigation bar Z index. Make it 1000. Okay, so it's already clickable, but the thing is, the image is somewhat at the back. So what we can do, okay, let's try this one. Let me try to add it here. Okay, so it's already working. Now let's try this time for our, let me just try to remove this part. Let's try to add also on our rooms and suite navigation dash bar. There, so it's already working. As you've noticed, it's already clickable. Okay. So we have here navigation dash bar, color 1 2 3 4 5 6. None. Okay, let's put here a load the page. Okay, go back here again. Try to add more on this part. So it's already clickable also. Then also same for this one. No, not that one, but this one. Okay, so that's it. So it's our navigation bar is already done. The next thing that we need to do is so to go back here to our PSD file. Okay, this would be the last part of our web layout. So for that one, what we need to do, we need to add the welcome part, which is this one. Okay, so let's try. I'm going to right click here, then duplicate group. Okay, new. I'm going to add it here, new. Okay, so this is it. What I'll be doing, by the way, is I'm going to do it one by one. Okay, so that at least okay, let's try to crop. Also same for this one here. Also same here. Okay. Then I'm going to save. So to call this one as YPG. Okay. So let's try this time to add our. So it will actually be somewhere here because that's actually inside our this is where we're going to add the white background. So we have here row. So let's try to add another. Okay, we have here maybe div class row. Then again, okay, white PG. So we added this code. Let's try to check if it's going to work. To reload the page. Okay, so it's going to be somewhere. It's already here actually. The next thing that we need to do is we're going to add our z-index again. So what we can basically do, or what we can just do is we have here, I'm going to create another class, white-pg. Okay, z-index, maybe we can set it to 500. Usually, how z-index works. Z-index works if you wanted that the image would be on top of another image or another element in your website. So let's say, for example, you have a div and you wanted to have something on top of that particular div, then you you use z-index. The higher the z-index, the higher also the image. So let's say, for example, the z-index of this navigation bar is 500. So ideally, in order for you to have the logo on top of the navigation bar, so you set this one into a higher value. So let's say 1000, maybe 15. So that's how z-index works. Okay, so going back here, so we have your white BG's z-index 500. So let's try to reload the page. It's not yet working. Then we have also our position absolute. Okay, so it's not yet working. Okay. White BG. Okay, so there it is. So, notice by the way that the index has occupied the whole page, so we don't want that. We don't want that. We only wanted it to occupy a certain portion of the page. So, instead of setting it to 12, maybe we can set it to 4. Okay, let's just check if it's going to be set to 4. So we have there. 4 is a little bit small. Maybe we can make it 5. Okay, 5 is a lot better. Or maybe 6. Let's just check. Let's see if it's like house 6. Okay, so there, 6 is much better. So then we'll try to adjust also the height. Okay, now for the height, again we can use py-4. So x axis and y axis. So there, it's currently adjusting. So we have here 12. 5. Try to set it to 5. 6. It's only up until 5. Okay, that's padding by the way. So it's like to use my or margin. Okay, so there 5, maybe 6. Okay, it's not also working, so we can just only set it to 5. Okay, let's try to do something else. Okay, so before I proceed with the white background, with the welcome note, let me just try to fix something. So as you've noticed, I changed the resolution from my default, which is my monitor, to a 1024 by 768. So you can actually do that also in Firefox. If you've been using Firefox, you can just right click here, then we have here inspect element, then this one, responsive design model, then just change it to 1024 by 768. Now notice by the way that although the links are working, so it's somewhat broken except for the links here, then as well as the content, but the rest seems to be broken. So let's first try to adjust it in such a way that it will not be broken, it will still be responsive. So I'm going to go back here on my page. Okay, on my code I mean. So we have here navigation bar. So let's specify border first. Okay, so we have their border. Okay, same also here. So white button, border. So it's a little bit small. Maybe you can adjust this one. So we have it here. I changed it to the padding to 1. Okay. Maybe we can just try to remove the border. Let's try to see how it goes. You have there on top. Okay, so we wanted it to be a little bit lower. So what we can do to change, maybe you can try to do inline style, padding top, 2px. Okay, you can make it 5. Alright, so I have to check if it's going to work for margin. Okay, so margin actually worked. So that's it. The next thing that we need to do is you also need to change this part here. So try to use this one instead of my. You can use m for margin. So to check if it's going to work. At least everything is it's not going to, it didn't work. So we can just try to leave it as is. P. Okay. Next thing that we need to do is we have here things to do. Okay, so we have here already room and suites. Text start. Okay. I did here text start on rooms and suites. 4, 2, okay, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. Now for this part, things to do. Okay, it's already okay. And then this one, okay, I'm going to just copy this part. Okay. SMP3. Margin top. Okay, so we have it here already. Maybe what you can do is you can also try to put here maybe border. Okay, concert and events seems to not able to fit. Okay, we can actually adjust it here somewhere. Okay, then just try to follow SM12, P1, SM11, SM1. Okay, maybe instead of concerts and events, things to do, SM2, this is SM2, P3. Okay. Maybe we can just change it to events. I think that's much better. Then, okay, text start, making text center. Also the same with this one. Text, just have it text start. Then let's just try to remove border. Where's border? Okay. So that's it. So I have here already hotels, the hotel, room and suites, things to do, and events. We can also try to change this part, make it instead of rooms and suite. Okay, let me just try to check also here. This one border. Okay, for this one as well. Yep. This is M2. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Then let's try to adjust this part, the white background. Okay. So it's actually somewhere here. So we have here with 50% margin top. Okay, so going back here. So let's try to check. Maybe we can, instead of 50%, what we can do is we can to make it 20% height. Okay. 30. Make it 35. Okay. So that's a lot better. Okay, so still I'm not convinced. I'm going to go back here on the logo part. Let me just try to change. Let me just try to hide this part first. I'm going to check. Control C. Okay. Okay, what I basically did, we just try to press Control KC. Okay, to have a comment. Now, first, this is our navigation part. You can try to add here border. There should be a border here. Okay, we already have our border. Then Okay, I'm going to put here border as well. Next is you also have your border. Then last, no, not last, but we have also our border. Then next, okay, if I finally found the difference, no, not yet. Then we also have here our border. Okay, we have here things to do. Rooms 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So rooms and suites. What if we're going to add it here also? Things to do. Rooms and suites. Yeah, it's a little bit longer, so it's okay. So there's nothing wrong with our code. Control KU. Okay. So that's it. So try to remove this time the borders also. Okay. So we already have our white background here. Okay, this time we'll try to add the image. Okay, we need to copy. Okay, let's first, before we try to add the image, let's first try to this. Actually, that will serve as our not white logo. Okay, where is it? This one. So what we're going to do next, we're going to add our white background. Okay, let's try to call this one as white PG. Okay, then okay, so that's going to be our white PG. Okay, so I deleted the image. Then we have here margin auto, white background. Now for the white background, what we need to do is we're going to add our background image. We have their image, background image, URL, images. So we have here our white background. Then we also need to check height and the width. So image, canvas size, change it to pixels. So we have here 591 and 182. Okay, so we have their height. 581 and 91 pixel and width 182. Okay, let's try this time. It's already there. So height should be width. And this one should be the height. Okay. So that's it. We have our background image. Okay, so next thing that we need to do is we need to add. Okay, so we have, this is 6. So let's try to add another row. Div class row. Div class call sm, try to set its width to maybe 8. Okay. Welcome to the Ritz. H2. Okay, let's try to check this time. Okay, so that's it. We already have it here. Then P3. Okay. Okay, go back here. Now let's also try to change its font to Times Roman. So we have there H2. Maybe make it 30. Okay. So we have it here already. Welcome to the Ritz. Then what we can do again is we can just copy this line of text. Okay. H B. Okay, so to go back here. Okay. Make it P4. Nice. Then last we have our image. Okay, so this is 4. Okay, so what we can do is just try to copy this part, duplicate layer, new again. Okay, so we have it here. I'm going to use my guides. Crop. I'm going to be using my crop tool. Okay, so I'm going to save. I'm still going to use JPEG, then save. This is going to be image 3. Okay, going back here. Let's just try to copy some of the images that we have done on previously. This one. Okay. So this is image 3. Try to reload the page. It's a little bit small. Okay, let's try to adjust. We need to adjust. Image fluid. This one's 7. 6. Okay. So maybe we can also make some adjustments. Okay, instead of P4, I can make it P1 or P2. This one should be P2. Okay, image, canvas size. Let's just try to force it 294. We have here width 294. For the height, it's 160 px. Ooh, it's a little bit big. Okay, so I took this one, 2, maybe 3. And for the width, just going to go back to our CSS file. Go back down here, so I have to change the width 591, make it maybe 690. Change it here. Make it maybe 10. Just copy this part. It's okay. Okay, so let's try this time again, our code. Okay, so we already have it here. Try to adjust instead of, make it 7. Okay, maybe we can make this one as D block. Okay. It doesn't seem to work. Just try to leave it as is. Okay. That's it. Okay, let's try to change its width. So the original width, by the way, is 294. Get 150. Okay. So that's one, but they're 160. 294. Maybe we can make it 290, 280. Or 270. Change it to 250. Okay, that's much better. So this is already our website. So we're already done with the conversion. So the next thing that we would normally do after everything has been converted, we can just try to remove this part also, so that Load the page. Okay. So the next thing that we can do after we converted it from PSD to JPEG to HTML is to basically upload the website, which I'll be showing you also on our next session or our next tutorial. So this is already our website. So sometimes, by the way, when you try to create a website, other things has to be cut. Like for example, this part. So if you're the hotel, rooms and suites, things should be okay. What we can do is we can just, okay, we have here so I have to go back here first. Concerts and events. Okay. As you notice, it's quite big, so it actually went down. So we need to, by the way, make it a little bit smaller. So navigation bar. Maybe we can make it font size. Maybe make it 11 pixels. Okay. 10. Check 10. Still doesn't seem to work. Okay. So it actually need to be here. Navigation bar. And just try to erase this part. And we can just try to cut it. Okay, go back here to our index. Just maybe concerts. Just have it with concerts. Okay, so this is already our website. Now, as what I've said, the next thing that we can do basically is try to upload the website. Okay, but for the meantime, we can just leave it as is. So we're already done with the conversion of the websites. I'm going to add the PSD file as on the description bar where you can download it so that you can test it out and try it out for yourself.